to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one! Another one!
Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown, Jonathan Taylor.
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three in.
He hit it.
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from high atop the 18th fairway here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Tuesday, November 15th. Holy cow. We're already halfway through November. That means Thanksgiving is next week. That's crazy. But welcome aboard. Dustin Schutte with me as always from Outsider.com. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Jim. How are you?
Wonderful. Don't forget about our great friends at Andy Moore Honda, number one Honda dealer in Bloomington. Just go to AndyMooreHonda.com for all the best on new and used vehicles, and Endeavor Hospitality and their Wow Club and wealth of restaurants in and around the Bloomington area. Was there last night at Southern Stone Restaurant for Inside Indiana men's basketball. Mike Woodson there, of course. Terry Morin wasn't there, though, as she normally would be, because Terry Morin was in Knoxville with the number 12 ranked women's team because they were taking on the number 11 ranked Tennessee Volunteer program down in Knoxville. I mean, you talk about as tough an environment to play in on the women's side. Man, that's it. I mean,
Yep.
Tennessee is the original dominant women's program. When Pat Summitt was there and had that program rocking, they would fill Thompson Bowling Arena. They more than the men's did. And they're back to being ranked. Did I not before the season say that this Indiana women's team was going to be better than last season? As hard as it is to believe. And they are, exactly as I told you, because they have reloaded with a different type of talent. And my God, they went off. I mean, what they brought in to add to what they lost and what they have, crazy. Sarah Scalia, she had a big night last night. But of course, the old stalwarts, Grace Berger and Mackenzie Holmes, how about a pair of double-doubles?
Yep.
A pair of double-doubles on the road against a ranked Tennessee team. Grace Berger with 13 and 10. Mackenzie Holmes with 16 and 10. Sarah Scalia had 16 points. Chloe Moore McNeil, what is she? She scored in double digits. Another shooter. I don't know what Sydney Parrish. Let's see.
She had 13 points off the bench, 4 rebounds and 5 assists.
See, I'm not even looking at the. Oh, there it is. Box score, just to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 players in double figures for Indiana.
That's balance.
Not only that, they had 21 assists on 28 made baskets.
That's pretty big.
21 assists on 28 made baskets. That's freaky. What's the percentage of that? That's 95%.
That wouldn't be 95. Probably be
90.
It probably 21 of 28 would probably be mid 80s, maybe.
It's pretty damn good, is all I know.
It is pretty. And they only had 10 turnovers.
Unusually high is what it is. Crazy high. Yeah. 10 turnovers. They turned Tennessee over 15 times. But just a gritty. I told you, man. You enjoy watching this team because they're going to be badass. This is a potential number 1 seed women's team.
Yep.
And they served notice to Iowa that I know you got your all-star girl back, but we reloaded and we're better as a team. I think Indiana might be the best women's team in the Big Ten this year. How about if the women and the men won the Big Ten?
That would be pretty impressive.
Yeah, that.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me.
Never happened ever.
It's hard for me right now. We'll see. I'm not counting them out. It's hard for me to put them above Caitlin Clark because she is so damn good. But they are definitely in that conversation. They are.
Caitlin Clark is the baddest player in the league. I'm going to give you that.
Yeah.
But she could end up like Tyra Buss. What does she have around her?
That could be true.
If it's all Caitlin Clark is not going to beat this team.
Right. That's a good point.
That I promise you. But Caitlin Clark is a badass player. I'll give you that. Saw her at the media days. She was in a dress. Looked like she could drop and go right now, though. Kick them heels off and just get down. But yeah, great athletes. Congratulations. But just a huge win for Terry Moore and that crew. So congratulations to them. Great start to the season. I think they're 3-0 now?
3-0.
But that's going to propel them up into the top 10 without question. I mean, just to win alone, but who they beat, where they beat, and how they beat them.
Yeah, they led the entire way.
That's, to me, they should get a bump up to the top 5.
Ooh. I don't know if they'll get that, but
it depends on what happens in front of you and all that stuff. But I think that because when you show they didn't win a close game.
Right.
They dominated. They were up by close to 20 at one point in double digits till toward the end of the game. They let Tennessee back in it, but they showed moxie. They held on and handled them. They ended up winning 79-67. So they let Tennessee get close. But then they held their ground and did what they're supposed to do. 15 of 18 at the free throw line. Let me tell you what Tennessee didn't do. 14 of 22.
No.
Think they'd like to have those? I
think they'd like to have at least
points
a couple
back
of them back. Yeah.
So there you go. But congratulations to Terry Moore and the women's squad. Gigantic win for them last night. On the program today, Collin Hartman is going to join us. Collin Hartman, former Indiana basketball player, of course, is I forget his exact title. I should know it, but Hoosiers for Good, is the NIL arm for Indiana. They are the only official NIL arm for Indiana. Well, if you can even call it official, but and then they have what's an offshoot called Hoosiers Connect. And we'll get more into that today with Collin, but Hoosiers Connect it's a way for smaller businesses or people like you to become a part of the NIL movement, whether it's with a monthly donation. Could be $100, could be $50. I don't know. Per month. It's like a club, basically. There are different levels, I believe, different things that you will get. But I'll let Collin describe all of that. And of course, we'll talk about some IU basketball with Collin, see what he thinks about where they are right now. And as the Hoosiers big game rolling into this Friday, as they will take on Xavier up in Cincinnati, and Sean Miller, Lil Rhodey's bro. Lil Rhodey bro. Lil Rhodey bro. There we go. Man, that didn't take long at all.
No, it didn't.
That just fell right into place. Lil Rhodey bro. I wish I was adept at creating memes or artwork.
What about Lil
media.
Brody?
Oh!
Take it a step further.
There we go. I like it.
That John does not say a lot of creative things, but when he hits one, he hits it deep out of the park.
There you go.
He's got two, and they're both freaking memorable. Indiana Sports Meets.
There you go.
And Lil Brody.
That's right. I forgot about Indiana Sports Meets.
Those are both grand slams to me.
Yes.
I mean, that's not a home run. See, Lil Brody's a home run. Lil Brody, that's maybe I don't know if it's a grand slam home run, but that's a multi.
I'm only batting 150, but when I do get hits, they're out of the park in the grand slam.
Well, you know what? A lot of home run hitters, man, they lead the league in strikeouts.
That's true. That is true.
That's the truth, brother. A lot of the big time home run hitters, they lead the leagues in strikeouts. They're going for the ball. They're going for it all. But yeah, I love that, Lil Brody. But now you've got to come up with a little character for us. I need that.
We need some sort of drawing or something or anime.
Who gave the did one of you guys give the $1 million? Sam says hello from Winter Garden, Florida. Looking forward to tonight's Montverde basketball game. Coach Woodson mentioned on the Don Fisher radio show last night that he is going to be there today. I was there at Southern Stone Restaurant last night. So, yeah, Mike Woodson heading down to Winter Garden. Sam will probably head over there. Sam, if you see him, make sure you tell him you listen to the show every day. Make sure he knows, baby. So hopefully you go over there and check that out. But he's very approachable, by the way. So feel free to do that. That's the one thing. After every show at Southern Stone Restaurant, he's usually having dinner with his family and people he hangs out. He is very, very low key. Part of the reason why I think his players have really gravitated. You know, they talked about his age. That you don't. He's just a cool cat, man. He's relaxed.
Yeah,
he's not not worried about stuff he doesn't need to be worried about. Doug says as Friday's Xavier game approaches, let's give Sean Miller a big L at home. Yeah, that's the plan for Indiana, I would say. Dwayne jumping on down in Southern Indiana. Appreciate you, Larry. How are you doing, sir? Yep, it was. Michael, the Music Man. Everybody got to watch that win last night. That's right. Tennessee's best player was playing. Not sure it would have mattered. Maybe he was not playing. Let's see. Grace Berger reminds me of a guy in high school who always raving about the talents of Pam Anderson. Oh, me? Talk about, hey, I love her. I love her game. I'm not going to lie to you. I love watching her play because she is such a complete player, man. And she does it without fanfare, without any kind of look at me stuff. She just goes in and balls and plays. She's going to play in professionally, I'm telling you. But she's just a worker. I mean, you have to love and respect an athlete like that just gives it every freaking time.
Right.
So yeah, I love watching people like that play. Let's see. Iowa won in OT against Drake. Now, are you talking about the men's or the women's side? We'll have to check that out.
The women's side.
Oh, that would have been funny. Wyatt says as much as he loves this women's basketball team, it's hard for him to say that Iowa isn't the best team in the Big Ten, but he hopes he's wrong. Well, I would have agreed with you in years past, but I don't think you know this women's team, this Indiana team, brother. We got to take a break. Lots more coming up today on the show. Collin Hartman will be joining us a little later, not too long ago. Chronic Hoosier as well. DJ's back as well. Derrick Jackson. Plenty to get to, folks. Appreciate you being here. Of course, we're brought to you by our good friends from Endeavor Hospitality and BB's Market. Make sure you stop in. I'll be there on Friday to do the show. Got the TVs up and running, so you can actually see the show in there now, which is great. And we're going to be working on putting some shows together there as the season goes along. Well, we'll have some players and doing some giveaways, so it's going to become more and more fun. Keep that in mind. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting... Oh, we didn't talk about the tragedy at Virginia.
You can briefly mention it when you come back. Good thing to kind of... That's kind of what Terry did yesterday. He brought it up at the very beginning of the show, and then that was kind of the end of it.
Well, there's not a lot to say about it because I don't know anything about it.
It's just a tragedy. Another top 25 team went down last night, too. I was going to mention that. Northwestern State beat number 15 TCU.
TCU, yep.
TCU's a fraud. They almost lost to Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Are you talking men's basketball?
Yes, men's basketball.
What the hell's TCU doing ranked up there?
I don't know either. Were they must have been good last year. I don't remember.
They were supposed to be. I had a friend of mine who's really into betting, and he was really high on TCU, and now he's telling me that he feels like a fool for believing in them. So
he feels like a fool.
Tell you what, you know who else is not good? Florida.
They lost to somebody already?
They got beat by FAU last night. First of all, they almost got beat by Kennesaw State on Friday. Which
Kevin Brockway, there you go. I was getting ready to say, is he listening?
He didn't. Hey, Kevin, you didn't respond to my text yesterday. Look at your text messages.
Dusty May.
Who they beat? Who
did Dusty May beat? Who
did FAU beat Florida last night? Because
you did.
Yeah, Florida was up 10. Then FAU went on a 30-6 run. Then it was a 3-point game with 40 seconds left. I hope I did not see a story on this. I don't know if Kevin was there or not, but my God, they were down 3 with 40 seconds left, and they intentionally fouled. And then with 8 seconds left, down 2, they did not foul. They gave
Dusty May.
3 points.
We'll talk about this on the show, but I'm sending him a text right now.
Funny to Kevin in the chat. All right, here we go.
Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're now a part of the Rivals Network. TheHoosier.com is where you can find complete coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to TheHoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Tuesday, November 15th. Man, I can't believe that. We're halfway there. On the program today, Collin Hartman will be joining us in the next segment. K-Bro with a comment there. Dusty May and FAU knock off Florida last night. The Gators. Congratulations, Dusty. I just sent him a text. Congratulations to Dusty May, former IU basketball manager. Moved on to become a head coach. One of the many former IU basketball managers that has gone on to John, when would you like for Dusty to come on the show, by the way?
We're going to pick a time for him live on the air.
His response was, tell me when.
Nice.
Let's do it tomorrow. Tell him tomorrow.
Do we have an opening tomorrow?
We do. He
What
can come on
time?
at the let's have him on at the end of the show.
10.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're booking Dusty May for the show for
There you
tomorrow.
go. Big get.
At 10:10. What is tomorrow? Thursday?
Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday. Maybe K-Bro can join us as well.
Oh boy. Now that's right after Rick Bozich, right?
Yes, it would be.
We got to be careful with that one.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Well, I know, but I like to take Rick long. Rick is such great.
Hey, that's what happened. We're so popular. We have so many guests. We
can let them join together.
Yeah, of course.
Now, all right. So Stetson's, I didn't see this. So they're still rolling.
Luke Brown had another 20-point night.
So now they're on the Florida beat, man. They're down there beating. What's with all these Florida teams losing?
I know.
First, Florida State loses to Stetson the other night. Now Central Florida loses to Stetson.
It was USF. It
Florida,
wasn't UCF.
It was what?
It was They beat USF, not UCF. That's incorrect. Philip,
now,
come on.
I didn't know if this was another game. Central Florida after they played. Yeah, there's too many schools, but
there's too many abbreviations in there.
He's tied up from 10 till 2, by the way, John. So we'll have to get a different time or a different day.
Well, we can discuss after the show. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, but since I've got him, since he's responding so quickly, I always like to hit him back when they're doing that. Yeah, that's the first, though, sitting here texting one of the coaches to set him up to have him come on. Of course, Pro Scouts at the game last night. Florida State is 0-3 with losses to Stetson, UCF, and now Troy last night. Oh, my God. What the hell's going on down there? Okay, bro, we need to come on. See what the hell's – I know he doesn't cover the Seminoles, but wow. Dude, those are all what you call bye games.
Yes.
Those are all bye games. Those are all games you bought that you paid people to come play you. So these are the Indiana playing Morehead State games. Indiana pays these teams a little bit to come in, and they beat the crap out of them, basically.
Right.
That's the plan. You know, that's the theory.
And Leonard Hamilton's teams, it's kind of shocking. Leonard Hamilton's teams are usually really good. They usually play pretty fundamental. That's surprising. I don't know what I'm going to be honest. I don't know what Florida State lost from last year. I don't know how good they were supposed to be. Maybe this is supposed to be a rebuilding year for them, but it looks pretty ugly early. This is
the first. Bill, he's sitting in a deer blind with his grandson listening to us.
Nice. I like it.
So we must be very, very quiet. We have to be very, very quiet. We're hunting deer.
Everyone's too old for that, I guess. Well, Elmer Fudd.
No, I knew who that was.
Yeah, that's a reference I understand. See, it seems like Dustin and I typically understand all of your references or none of your references.
That sounds like my life. Most people in life.
I still have not watched that Indiana bicycle movie.
If you call it that one more time, watch. You know what? You know what is so easy for me to do? Bam. Boom. He doesn't get that, boy. Boom. It just takes one click. You cannot call it the Indiana bicycle movie.
I know.
It's an iconic film that has great actors in it. That is just historic. Breaking Away is a classic, and it was filmed at the old stadium. That was filmed at the old 10th Street Stadium. I didn't know that for the longest time.
Nice. Well, I think I did locate it on Amazon Prime or something, so I'm going to watch it this weekend.
Oh, you finally did? Yeah, Dusty's doing great, man. Hell, I'm surprised he hasn't moved on from there, but we're gonna work on getting him on here. John's going to give me a different time here in a few minutes, and I'm going to send it to him.
I sent you one in a text. Check your phone.
Oh, my bad. Kenneth asking, is Charlie Miller going to be coming back on the show? Yeah, he's probably going to be doing some post-game shows, most likely, because that's his schedule has changed a bit. But whatever we can get with Charlie with his schedule, absolutely. He loves being with us, and we love having him. Miss not having him, as a matter of fact. So, yes, to answer your question, Philip says number 15 TCU lost at home to whoever that was, Northwestern State. Yeah.
Yep.
Who the hell is Northwestern State?
I believe they're in Louisiana. I think
they are. They're the fake Northwestern because they're in the Southeast.
I believe.
They're the Northwestern of the Southeast.
Yes, and I believe that's where Ed Orgeron went to school.
It's a joke. Paris of the South or whatever,
like Paris,
yes,
or Paris, Texas, or whatever.
So you go. 5 Left says breaking away made him want to come to IU.
There we go.
I need to get a soundbite just of Dustin saying the bicycle movie that I can throw up. That'd be pretty funny.
That does not fly, man. Chris says he loves some Elmer Fudd singing Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, that would be rough.
Bruce Springsteen is losing his hearing, struggling to.
Well, that happens. I mean, why do you think that David Johnson, the lead singer for AC/DC, is no longer the lead singer for AC/DC?
Brian Johnson?
Brian Johnson lost his hearing. And that's why. So, yeah.
I listened to an AC/DC album the other way. You'd be proud of me. The other day. Excuse me, not the other way.
You say that as if that's your first time you've listened to AC/DC. If it is.
No, it's the first time I've listened to an entire album of AC/DC.
See?
Now
Jim is just
Jim
taking people out.
Producer, removing people from the chat.
Taking people out left and right on this show.
What if we could do that with commenters? I guess you kind of
just ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I wouldn't say that out loud.
Oh, and I've got to mention this while I've got the chance. This Friday, Nickelback releases their 10th album.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm not going to be here to celebrate it. I'm not going to be on the show.
That's the day John's getting in line early. He's lining up. That's his Black Friday shopping. Lining out outside of Walmart, getting ready to get the Nickelback, fighting off customers.
Oh, I'm sure there's millions fighting off for it.
Is the Champions Classic this weekend? Is Dick Vitale, Tim's
tonight?
Tonight.
Oh wow! So Dick Vitale is in the Indy, calling his first game back. Kentucky versus Michigan State, Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Good for him. That's
take
awesome.
Away while I'm still talking about it, man. John's taking away. Pete says that Indiana bicycle movie is like calling Titanic the sinking boat. Mayhan.
I guess
what the hell is that?
The sinking boat movie. That's probably what he meant to type. A little autocorrect. Never hurt.
Yeah, I guess so. Pete, yeah, you lost me on that one. Oh, man. But yeah, good to have Dickie V back.
That's awesome. Yes.
I mean, it is. It's great to see his fight, man. Dude is how old? 80 something?
80. Is he 87? I don't want to overage him. In his 80s.
Yeah, not 87. Fighting through cancer, though. And fighting to get back on the air. I mean, that's a tough fight. So, Doug says next time I'm in Bloomington, make sure to get him a new Big Ten hat. All right. We got lots more coming up on the program, man. Collin, Hartman. We're not ready to break, are we?
Still have time. We're good.
Oh, you keep jumping in there, and you're confusing me, man.
See, I've been having fun, though. Usually I just sit in the background and watch.
Well, and that's okay. That's okay. Just don't confuse me.
83. What's 83?
I think that's his age.
That's how Dick
Oh.
Vitale is. Yes, that's correct. I just looked it up.
Same age as my dad. Dickie V, though. Yeah, they both sound tough. My dad had a mild stroke and had COVID at the same time.
Oh, no.
He's too mean to die. I'm telling you. I mean, you can't kill him. He's 83. He'll die, of course, eventually. But he had a mild stroke and COVID at the same time.
Oh,
Yes, but
that does not sound fun.
No, but you couldn't tell it.
Oh, really? He just acted like everything was just fine.
Oh, dude, it took me forever to get him to get the damn vaccination shot before he got it. So he did have the shot, but he didn't want to get it forever. Not that it mattered. He ended up getting COVID anyway. So there's that. But we won't be doing any Nickelback sound check parties Friday. That's for sure. Calling Breaking Away that Indiana bicycle movie is like calling the sinking of the Titanic the sinking of a John boat or something is what the best thing to say. But hey, Friday basketball on the road at Xavier. That is going to be exciting. We need to get some sound from Sean Miller. I'm about to see what he has to say about. I'm curious. There has to be or have been a conversation between Archie and Sean about this game in some form, some fashion.
Yeah.
I don't know because it's not the same players, really, although you have Trace and Race. But there's nothing that he can gain from Archie because Archie obviously didn't know what the hell he was doing when he was here. So he damn sure doesn't know what the hell this team is doing when he's not here. So I don't know if there's been a conversation or not. It's curious.
Well, one of the things that I thought was interesting was I believe it was last year when they were talking about Jeff Goodman had both Sean and Archie Miller on his podcast to break down, I think, some of the March Madness games and some of the conference tournament games. And I think Sean had a little bit more animosity towards Indiana than Archie did. Like there were some comments that Sean made that.
Let's get back to that. Breaking news. Kevin Brockway. Okay, bro. If today were his last day on earth, I think he means he would not be listening to Nickelback. Okay, back.
He's also making a joke using one of their song titles. That's what he's doing.
Oh,
they have a song called "Today Was My Last Day." That's what he's saying.
See, he's very. He's being very clever. Fortunately, I don't know that is a song title because
I didn't either.
Don't know their song titles. But yeah, getting back to what you were saying.
Well, it just seemed like there was Sean had more animosity. Just the way he was talking about Indiana, just the way he was speaking about them. I think he was talking about how the fans can turn at any given point. They turn on their coaches, they turn on their players. I believe that was the conversation.
Was that? Where was that? I would love to find that audio.
It was on Jeff Goodman as part of Stadium still, I believe.
Was that when they were on there together?
Yes, it was when they were on there together.
Oh,
and Archie kind of dismissed it. He was like, "That's not true." So, but I mean, it's the older
Archie
brother
says,
sticking.
Shut up! They're paying me $10 more million. Shut up!
That probably did have something to do with it. Yeah.
Shut up! These payments don't come in a lump sum. Shut up!
But when that video surfaced, there were a lot of Indiana fans that said something along the lines of, "Wow, Sean was harsher on Indiana than Archie was." It was very interesting. Let's see if I can find it.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, the great Collin Hartman is going to join us. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by GoTeam, a part of the WOW Club. Make sure you go to your Apple app or Google Play Store, sign up for the WOW Club, start earning WOW rewards today, part of Endeavor Hospitality. They are a proud sponsor of Value Athletics, more importantly, of Indiana Sports Beat. Back with with Collin Hartman right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Golfers, here's a deal. Okay, here it is. We've got to find where they say that shit.
Morning, Collin.
It lasts a damn hour, so that's going to be hard to find.
Yeah.
Collin, how are you doing, brother? He's not even.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Are you able to turn your camera on by chance or no?
I am driving on 46.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to look at it. Just turn it on.
But do
I don't
whatever
think
makes
it'll
you
be a
feel
flattering
safest.
angle.
Yeah, do whatever makes you feel safest, obviously. Don't put yourself in danger.
I was gonna plan on being in my office by the time we started this thing, but my daughter had different plans for me this morning.
How long does it take you to get to your office?
About a little over an hour.
Oh, okay. Here in Indy. I can we'll talk about that later. Where is that? Well, I guess don't say that. Now I'm not giving all that money at once, just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm going to make that in increments, $250,000 increments. Man, cutting out.
Hey, Collin, is there any chance that in a
It's-
few minutes you may be in a different location with better service? You're kind of cutting in and out. If we wait till 9:30, maybe.
Well, let me see how.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Oh, look, it's Sean giving us right at the 210 mark. Damn.
All right, we're supposed to come back here. What do you want me to do, Jim?
We come back. We
Okay.
come back.
You
Let it
want-
and just take it.
Here we go.
Collin.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Tuesday, November 15th, here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, high atop the 18th fairway. Jim Coyle with you as always, as is Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com. And we are fortunate to be joined by former Indiana basketball player and director of Hoosiers Connect, Collin Hartman. Collin, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
I cannot complain. I was going to let you know in the break, I'm not going to give that entire $1 million in one lump sum.
Of course you're not. Moneybags over there, Mr. Coyle.
Yes. Congratulations, first of all, on the $1 million gift. That is gigantic. And I'm going to assume that this is by far the largest NIL gift that Indiana's received, whether for Hoosiers Connect or Hoosiers for Good at one time.
Yeah, it is, and it's very unique. It's very generous, and you know, it's massive, right? One of the things that
It is
helps
massive.
us- oh, it is, and one of the things that it helps do is, you know, encourage other people to get involved. Just because, you know, it's a matching, right? So whatever we raise from now to December 31st, whether it's through Hoosiers for Good or Hoosiers Connect, that individual will match up to $1 million. So
okay, so it's both. It's for both. I didn't realize. I thought it was just for Hoosiers Connect, which I'll explain again, or we will. I'll let you explain again the difference between the two. But yeah, I didn't know it was for both of those, so that helps.
yeah, so it depends on what you're interested in, but it's to benefit any contributions to Hoosiers for Good or any involvement or engagement to Hoosiers Connect. So membership.
First thing you probably need to do is explain the differences for people. I've tried to do that between Hoosiers for Good. My basic quick explanation is Hoosiers for Good is more along the corporate line of large one-time gifts or it's more of a corporate level, where Hoosiers Connect gives the opportunity to smaller businesses or the everyday general fan to be a part of this through whether it's a monthly donation of $50 a month or whatever the case is. But what explain it, because I'm sure it'll be better coming from you.
Yeah. So corporations and individuals can go both routes, really. What we've seen is more individuals going the Hoosiers for Good side. So Hoosiers for Good is a charitable entity, 501c3. The way it operates in an NIL capacity is individuals donate to Hoosiers for Good. They get a tax deduction, and then in turn, we enter NIL agreements with student athletes and partner them with charities that we've then partnered with. I think that we're at 22 currently different charities that we've partnered with in the state of Indiana. At no cost to the charity, the student athletes have to, make appearances, 4 to 5 appearances, and 10 to 14 social media posts. So it's pretty extensive from an obligation standpoint. But ultimately, the goal there is to raise awareness for the charities that we've partnered them with, give the charities experiences to have student athletes at their events, interact with their other contributors, things of that nature, and ultimately reach a demographic that they haven't otherwise had the opportunity to reach. And so Jim, we've seen a lot more individuals go that route from the tax standpoint, and a lot of them have vested interests in charities. So they're very philanthropic by nature, those individuals are, and so they go that route. We haven't seen a whole lot of businesses go that route, honestly, because on the Hoosiers Connect side, you can get a marketing or business expense, which from a business's perspective is a lot more advantageous in the tax sense than getting a charitable deduction from a business. So, and in turn, you get social media posts or appearances at events or whatever you see fit. But we have seen an influx of individuals joining our individual memberships on Hoosiers Connect because of the things and the access that you get. We have different levels. We have a $100 a month option, a $500 a month option, a $1,000 a month option, and each level is tiered up to the amount of access and benefits that you get. So it's very, very interesting. So it depends on really what you're looking for. What do you want out of it? Do you want, to give to a charitable entity and have athletes go represent charities and do that and get tax deduction in the meantime? Or, do you want to be part of having access to student athletes and signed memorabilia and exclusive interviews and things of that nature? So we're all over the place, really. But
hey, Collin, real quick, could you drop out and come right back in, because your audio kind of is getting choppy? It's from I don't know what it is specifically, but if you come right back in, it'll fix itself, I promise. Will you do that for me real quick?
Yep.
Thank you, Collin.
Collin Hartman joining us from Hoosiers for Good, a part of with Hoosiers Connect, a part of Hoosiers for Good, the NIL arm for Indiana University. They just received an incredible gift of $1 million that they will matching funds that goes to either Hoosiers for Good or Hoosiers Connect through the end of the year. So that is Collin Hartman is running the Hoosiers Connect side, and Tyler Harris, actually the executive director. We'll get him on next week with Hoosiers for Good, but he's been on with us before. But this is a great opportunity. You talk about, you look at, you see the result. If you want to see the direct result, look at your basketball team. I can promise you right now, where they are this quickly is a result of NIL, and it's a result of Hoosiers for Good. Do you want to see a better football program? Everyone's talking about football, complaining about that. If you want to see that, then you have to take part in this. That's just there. It's just how it is. You don't have to like it, but you got to accept it because it's the truth and it is the fact, and it's here, man. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, Collin. You're just a little bit too late, brother.
I would say I wouldn't be rich, but I'd have more than I do now, Jim.
Man, you could have made some money off that pretty face.
I wouldn't go that far. I would not go that
far. How difficult, Collin, has it been? This is all still, it seems like we've been going through this now for maybe a year, maybe 2 years now, but how difficult is it? There's still some intricacies, I'm sure, that need to be ironed out. How much, how difficult was it to get started with all the NIL stuff, and how has that process, become easier over the past couple months?
It's been a whirlwind, honestly. Everything's changing every day. It felt like it was kind of the wild, wild west. There was conversations around, federal intervention, right, from not allowing 501c3s to operate anymore at that capacity, which isn't going to happen. We've talked with numerous political figures at the federal level. I think the general consensus is that it was an attention grab. So from our understanding with the conversation that we've had, is that, there's not going to be any real movement on that anytime super soon. But it's been interesting because the business model, when we first started putting it together to make it sustainable and, appealing to a large mass of individuals, right? There's strength in numbers. We want as many people involved as possible, and kind of trying to navigate what makes sense, what people are interested in, what they're not, what brings value, what doesn't, how to structure the contracts in a compliant manner, how to interact with the athletes, and you throw in the added layer that they all have agents now. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. So you're not just negotiating or communicating with an athlete, you're interacting with their agent or agencies, which throws a curveball in all of it. So it's been interesting. It's been fun because you can do whatever you want with NIL, right? It's the wild, wild west. But that's the pro and the con to it, right? There's no blueprint to follow. There's no, this is how people typically do it. It's like there's too many options for people and they don't know where to start or what's going to give them the best quote unquote ROI or whatever that may be. I always use the analogy that it's like giving my wife the option, like, all right, what do you want for dinner? That's too broad of a question, right? That's too many options. I'm like, all right, do you want this or this? And then we can get somewhere. And that's kind of what NIL is right now. It's just a matter of having a conversation with an individual or a business to figure out what their goals are. Do they want to get in NIL or not? And is it worth it to them? Because ultimately you're reaching a different demographic than you probably ever reached in any other capacity, in a different angle. So it's interesting navigating, but it's fun because it keeps us on our toes.
But it's also, this is a unique opportunity now because it gives small businesses, mom and pops, local, wherever you are, but for us, it's Indiana, businesses to do things with Jalen Hutchifino, with CJ Gunn, with the guy, and it could be on the football team, but with guys that they really just didn't have access to before. So there's benefits and access from a smaller company side. Of course, I know the corporate, bigger corporate, and they're helping with the charities and whatnot, but I'm looking at the Hoosier Connect side, that you work with. It's kind of twofold. You've got the companies which that can do it and still get benefits from it, but then you got the fans who, just for the access that they could not ever get. Not only so now do they get access, but they're helping the program. They're a part of helping the programs win, whether it's football, basketball, women's basketball. Look what they did last night. You know, they're a top program now, and they'd probably like to stay that as well. Would you like to see your basketball teams in the top 10 both of them year in, year out? And would you like to see your football team competing in the Big Ten like they were a couple years ago? Well, I'll tell you right now, the football team just doesn't have the talent. They don't have the talent to compete right now, period. And the only way that's going to change now is through NIL. And I'm not saying I expect Indiana to field a team of all-stars, because NIL is just going to start flooding in for football. But it doesn't take that. It takes the right guy here, the right guy there, or the ability to do the right couple of things for guys, I'm assuming, Collin.
Yeah, I think a little bit goes a long way in that respect. I think, to echo your point earlier, the NIL landscape, like I think you kind of opened up this segment with, is it has a direct and an almost immediate impact on how a team can get better. In a year, less than a year, it has an immediate impact on, if talent wants to stay here or come here. They want to know that they have opportunities at hand, and that's why we've put collectives together. Because, quite candidly, the top players in the country have agents. And, those agents go to collectives, that we don't talk to them unless they're on campus, right? But a lot of them start asking, what are the opportunities? And it's good to show that we have these infrastructures in place to support our athletes, to facilitate deals that our donors want to engage in, and that businesses want to engage in, and fans want to engage in. It allows us to at least show that we have a fully operational, efficient mechanism to support our athletes. And like you said, I think it's a nice opportunity that IU football has. We have great facilities. We have great coaches. I think that with the divisions probably going away in a couple years, we won't be playing the top teams in the Big Ten multiple times a year. So, a little bit goes a long way in NIL for football, and that's one thing that we're pushing very heavily on, because basketball is going to, and traditionally has, somewhat.
Let's take a quick break and come back, and we'll get your audio fixed again. Collin Hartman is with us. We're talking about Hoosiers Connect and Hoosiers for Good, and the $1 million gift that Indiana has received, which they'll need matching funds for, which they'll need fans and other companies to help out with that. But don't forget, we're brought to you by our good friends from Remax Realty. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want or not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. And if you're in Louisville, Southern Indiana, Floyd, Clark, Harris, and Scott counties, Barbara Pop Real Estate Service has served that community for 3 decades. No one can get you in the home you want better, quicker, or cheaper than Barbara Pop Real Estate Services. Reach out to Barbara at barbarapop.com, or my man Matt Lincoln, Matt at barbarapop.com. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio and Collin Hartman right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore.
And come
I
back.
didn't expect you to. I thought you were going to wrap it up there, but he can. It's probably going to come back. Is what I was going to tell you. Like we can have him drop out and come back.
Like
in,
hang up,
do it again.
Hang up and recall if you don't mind.
He did that earlier. Is what I was.
I understand. Just hang up and recall back if you don't mind. Or
so when
not
it
call
does
back.
it again, are you going to wrap it up, or are you going to?
Probably will, John. But I'm trying to get as much out of this as I can because this is.
I know. I mean, you have enough. It's not bad, but I understand you want to.
Well, I also want to talk about IU basketball.
Okay.
He's back. Hey, now can you turn your phone sideways? Look at that.
There we go.
I don't know how I'm gonna get that thing to stand up though.
Yeah, so this will be fine. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a StreamYard thing. It's not his phone because it's not the only person that it happens to. But about 5 to 10 minutes into a segment, when somebody joins like this, you start hearing that jagged noise.
When's the first game you're going to be at?
I was at Thursday's game.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Games that you're like at home games that you're at, that would be, you can probably just sit down in the post-game show if you want to for a second or two, if you're already there.
It just depends on how, because Thursday's game, it was late tip, 8:30 tip.
Right.
I mean, I didn't get home till midnight.
Oh, I hear you. Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you. It depends on the situation. But and that other thing, we'll talk afterwards. But I think that will be the away game thing. Anyway, I'll talk.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in your office all day?
Yeah, we have a couple meetings starting at noon. In my office all day.
When's your free time?
Let me check. We have a meeting from noon to 1:15, and then from 1:30 to 3.
Here we go.
Yep, I'm good after 3 o'clock.
298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Tuesday, November 15th. Collin Hartman with us here at ISB, celebrating a big $1 million gift Indiana received. Indiana NIL yesterday, $1 million. They need matching funds in either Hoosiers for Good or Hoosiers Connect, which are connected together. They are Indiana's NIL arm. Don't be confused by anything else that's out there. This is the NIL arm for Indiana. And this is the way to go, in my personal opinion. So there's that. Collin, there's a lot that's going to be coming up with. First of all, you guys you need matching funds, as we've said. So you need people on both sides, whether it's corporations, companies, fans. What's some of the access, say, the general fan can get with their, and I know you talked about there's different options, whether it's 50, 100, 200, 500, I don't know. There's probably anything you want it to be, I would imagine.
Yeah, so right now the way that we have it structured on the Hoosiers Connect side is we have a $100 option, $100 a month option, a $500 a month option, and a $1,000 a month option. The $1,000 a month option we're capping at 50 individuals, because a lot of the events in that one are we don't want them to get too big. We want those to stay intimate,
exclusive.
exclusive, intimate with the players and the coaching staff and the individuals that are part.
What's just one thing that goes along with that?
We're going to do a huge annual gala. Food, drinks, players, coaches, whoever can be there will be there, right? The players will be contracted to being there, and, we'll have dinner with them. We'll have speakers. We'll have probably past players show up, things of that nature. So it's going to be a complete immersion in interacting with the athletes, listening to Q&As and inside stuff. So it'll be, we're working on where that's going to be. It possibly could be in French Lick. It could be in Bloomington. It could be in Indy. So we're kind of just navigating how that's going to work, but that it's going to be a big event, food, drinks, suits, whole 9 yards. So, it'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. The stories that'll be told there, and interacting with the athletes and getting to have like a live Q&A would be, I think it'd be, a lot of fun. But,
now, are these laid? If you go to the website, are these laid out? This is this, and there's what you get, and all that. So you can just now. Is that all that on the Hoosiers for Good website, or do you have a different one for Hoosiers Connect?
So HoosiersConnect.com as its own site, HoosiersConnect.com. And if you go to the individuals, there's an individuals learn more, sign up side of it that you just click on, and they'll show you the categories, the price, and what you get for all of that. So it maps it out pretty well. And then there's also, if you guys have any questions, if anybody has questions, there's a form fill on there to just submit a question about whatever it may be. And then there's also, if you have a corporation that wants to get involved, there's corporate sponsorships as well. But we also, I will like to highlight that I don't know that it's reflected on our site quite yet. Maybe it is. Should be this week. But we also do smaller deals. The companies that don't do $50,000 corporate sponsorship, but want to do a deal with an athlete. Doesn't have to be football. Doesn't have to be basketball. It can be women's basketball, baseball, soccer, swimming, diving, whatever your interests are. We'll help you kind of navigate those smaller deals as well. To like you said, to navigate that for smaller groups. So.
Well, looking forward to it, and looking forward to as more and more information comes out. We'll continue. We'll have Tyler on. We'll have Collin on a little more frequently. We'll talk some IU basketball with you as Indiana travels this Friday as take their first road game, traveling to Xavier, take on a semi-familiar foe in Sean Miller, little roadie's brother. Indiana, I'm not sure if it's how much of a test it's going to be, but it's a road game. So that in and of itself is going to be a nice test, but it's going to be good to see this team, get challenged a little bit. But man, right now, Collin, they look damn good.
Yeah, I was at the game. Granted, we were playing Bethune-Cookman on Thursday, but we are deep. I mean, as one of the things that I think from top to bottom, we're the deepest team in the country. Granted, I probably have a little bias there, but and our top end might not be, the best player in the country, but I think from top to bottom, the guys that are going to hit the floor, we have the smallest margin of drop off when subs come in my opinion, in the country from what I've seen. It's just, it's
amazing. They actually have gone from probably one with the most drop off a year ago to the least drop off this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. You have guys like CJ Gunn and Caleb Banks that on a lot of other programs in the country they would be starting, and they don't see the floor till the end of the second half at IU, and so it's. They're very highly talented people and players. Like they'll probably find their way into the rotations as the year goes on. God willing, nobody gets hurt. But I think, those are, if we get in foul trouble, I'm not too worried about it, just because of how deep we are, and not having that drop off where you have a liability guy come in that either can't shoot or can't play defense, or, I think I'm excited about it. I hate getting too optimistic as of late, but at the same time, it's exciting to be excited and have something to look forward to, because we are deep and we are talented. And
hopefully that should help what you're trying to accomplish be a little bit easier. And before I let you go, for basketball, it's a lot easier, but these aren't earmarked for specific places unless the people want them to be. But people also need to get on the football side of things. This can't be a one-sided basketball side, because Indiana as athletics has to, they have to rise as one. I'm not talking about every single program, but football is, whether you like it or not, football is the sport that is the engine of the train in college athletics when it comes to money. It just isn't at Indiana, but you got to support everything. And it's not impossible for Indiana to have a competitive football team. We've seen it, and we saw it a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The way that Hoosiers Connect and Hoosiers for Good is structured, on Hoosiers for Good, you can earmark it for a sport, right? Or you can, not an individual player or athlete, you can earmark it. But like you said, we do a good job of kind of spreading it around to, where's most fit for those funds, right? And on Hoosiers Connect side, you can earmark funds down to an individual athlete, right? Or individual sport, or like you said, Jim, if people want to just support IU athletics in general, we can allocate those funds, to the best support the infrastructure. So I think that, if you just want to get involved, you get access to men's basketball and football right now from a membership standpoint. We're going to continue to build that if it's successful. But I think, just to echo, we need as many people to join as possible, many people to get involved as possible, because we want to maximize the $1 million, gift. So that's really what it comes down to. And like you said, all these TV contracts, these massive TV contracts that people are seeing, as much as we would like them to be, they're not driven by basketball. All these super conferences that are going to be formed, and it's all going to be driven by football. And to maximize the athletic department and at Indiana University, we are going to need to have a viable football team. We are going to have a competitive football team. And quite candidly, if you go back to 2020, right, that's the year we had a big year in football, 2019, 2020, correct? Like that was a lot of fun. I mean, when you have a good football team, it is a lot of fun. And it doesn't take a whole lot to move the needle right now for IU football. So I think if people can get on board, then we can really, really make a huge impact in a very short amount of time for football.
Yeah, well, we'd like to get you back on again to talk about all of this and to talk about that specifically, because, and not just that, there are other sports. Yeah, I look at rounds. I was reading an article yesterday about they're very attractive, but these twins in Miami, they're raking it in, baby. And they're not playing they're not playing football. They're not playing men's basketball. So it's a whole new world. But there's a lot of different things to talk about, a lot of different ways for people to get involved, a lot of reasons for people to get involved. But I look forward to having you back on to talk more about this and see how it's going. And we'll get Tyler on as well.
Oh, yeah. One of the analogies I always use is now with NIL involved, it's like voting. If you didn't vote, you can't complain about who's the elected official. Now, if you didn't contribute to NIL, you can't complain about the team. That's my way of going about it now.
Yep. For those that can, we know that there are plenty that
Right.
can. But yeah, for those that definitely can, that sure bitch the loudest. Those are the ones. Isn't that usually the case?
Jim, it's you, Jim. You're one of them, man.
Hey, man, I'm trying to help spread the joy. What are you talking about? How's Holland doing?
She's good. She's growing up a little bit, becoming more of a human than an infant newborn. So she's getting acclimated to being outside of the womb. That's for sure.
I'm telling you, for the first year, it's just pooping and eating and sleeping and crying. It's just a blob of humanness for a year. Then you start seeing that personality, and you're like, oh man, that's funny. That's cool. I think she's got my personality in it.
I think I like this one now.
We'll tell Mary Kate and her sister Ashley we said hello.
Will do.
And hopefully we'll talk to you soon. See, Indiana is not at home for gee whiz a minute. They're on the road this Friday at Xavier, then Sunday play Miami at Indianapolis at Gamebridge. So when is Indiana's next home game? My God, this is a stretch for Indiana. First of all, you've got a week off, which is kind of a rarity right now. But as far as home games, it's even more of a stretch for Indiana when they'll be back in the hall. Let's see.
A week
Little
off
Rock.
is the worst thing. Weeks off as a player was terrible.
Okay, not only that, you get a week off, you come back, you play the night before Thanksgiving. Wait a minute, when is Thanksgiving? Somebody give me a date.
Next Thursday?
Yeah, next Thursday. So they would play
15 and 7 is 20.
So they play
24th?
the 23rd. 24th is Thanksgiving.
Indiana has a week off, plays the day before Thanksgiving, plays the day after Thanksgiving.
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
That is stupid scheduling.
Oh, it's terrible.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. I don't want to go to a damn game on Friday. I wanted the weekend. I mean,
wait.
Not the weekend off, but there's a football game on Saturday on top of that.
Oh yeah.
So
you know what? I like it.
So Thanksgiving week goes from game on Wednesday, Thanksgiving Thursday, game on Friday, football game on Saturday.
A lot of sports. I guess if you're at home watching, you got a lot to watch. That's what Dustin's thinking right now.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. I'm going to have my feet propped up, might have a beverage or two, taking in a whole weekend of sports. Jim's going to have to load up a cot and sleep on IU's campus for a couple of days.
At least the game on Friday, on Black Friday, is at 12:30 in the afternoon.
There you go.
That's a little odd. Maybe not. We'll see. But I guess we'll see you at the Little Rock game the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It's a 6:30 contest.
Possibly. Possibly not. Now we have family and stuff to juggle. I got another side of the family and my side of the family. All the holidays are a mess. Man. Well,
then we've got North Carolina the week after that. So looking forward to it. Collin Hartman, cannot thank you enough, brother. Keep making it happen. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys. Take it easy.
Appreciate you. Collin Hartman, former Indiana basketball player, now director of Hoosiers Connect. Make sure you go to HoosiersConnect.com or HoosiersForGood.com and help contribute to that $1 million gift that they have. We got to take a break. Up next, Chronic Hoosier is going to join us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Metalworks Brewing Company, located just off the square in Bloomington in the former Function Brewery location. Stop by and enjoy their craft beers, love for metal art, and desire to be a part of the community. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Hey, this is John.
Morning, Chronic. Excuse me.
Good morning.
It's back there making some of that BB's bacon. Oh, boy.
I did pick up some more BB's bacon last night. You think I'm kidding?
We need
That's the shit.
We need the crunch. We need the bacon crunch.
Dude, I'm telling you, that is the shit.
That
Hey,
was
by the
the
way-
best break transition you ever did, talking about the bacon and then biting it and then going to break. That was the best.
That was an all-timer right there. By the way, somebody did find that exact moment that we were looking for with Sean Miller and Archie Miller and Jeff Goodman.
Oh, yeah, I had it pulled up. Chronic, how you doing, brother?
I'm awesome, man. How you doing today, Jim?
I cannot complain. I'm trying to find that mark. Yeah, where is that? Sean Miller. There we go. Let's see.
Seemed like somebody had it earmarked, like they were.
I don't
waiting.
think I don't think the 210's right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What a shame.
Yeah, I think without question, Sean Miller's a little. He's the arrogant of the two.
Yeah, other than a glimmer, he's the only one that's tasted sustained success.
Yeah. Well, he cheated his ass off to do it too.
Yeah, and isn't it funny where he landed?
Right back home, baby.
Isn't it funny?
It's like Bobby Petrino when he went back to Louisville for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
10 a.m. with 1 week in advance tea time bookings. You just cover your card fees. Now, there is a limited number of memberships available, so go to eaglepoint.com right now and get yours today.
This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, welcome back. It is Tuesday from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, high atop the 18th fairway, November 15th. Joined now by Chronic Hoosier. Dustin, Judy with me as always from outsider.com. Chronic, how's it going, man?
I've never felt so good with Rocky Top just swirling around in my head as I have this morning.
Well, I'm sure, and congratulations and on giving the $1 million to Indiana. It's very nice of you.
Well, that's the best part about it, because that million's going to turn into two with the matching clause in there. So no, awesome news all the way around for Indiana yesterday. Big move on the NIL front, and it's funny watching the women's basketball team and just the rocket ride it's been on under Terry Moore and all. You saw it in the broadcast last night. You see reflecting a lot of the commentary this morning. They're getting all the shine that they deserve for it. This team is just something else. And for as excited as Indiana fans are for the basketball team and their resurgence, these girls been here this whole time, and they just completely kind of recompositioned themselves. Obviously Mackenzie Holmes and Grace Berger's return was massive, but Terry Morin's ability to plug in the necessary pieces to pull off an upset like that. And I made a big mistake yesterday in my tweet. AP poll came out yesterday. There's some shuffling in it. When I shifted back from the live stats page I was back at the game notes page. So, this team's spent what seems like forever now, ranked in the AP polls, and just continues to prove to the country why. But it's nothing short of amazing still for me to sit here and just see how far they've come and how much potential they still have. And now you're looking at a possibility by the time the polls come next week, we should see 2 Indiana teams hopefully ranked in the top 10. And let me tell you what, man, I am so here for this right now. Everything's better when the basketball's good in Bloomington.
You're not lying, and you're looking at, like I said, uncharted waters. As historic as the Indiana men's basketball program is, you're maybe a week away from both programs being in the top 10, which has certainly never happened before. And I don't know which one's better. I think I'm going to give it to the women's team right now. I think that they are, barring, I haven't seen Iowa play, so I don't know how good they are as a team. I know they have what's her name? Daggone it, Player of the Year, extraordinarily Caitlin Clark. But I don't know what they have around her this year. So Indiana women's team is a complete team. And if Iowa does not have a complete team, Indiana is going to win the Big Ten. And now I'm talking, can you imagine Indiana men and women's basketball winning the Big Ten in the same year? But I think that the women's team is a potential number 1 seed.
Yeah, a lot of ball to be played. The big difference right now between the 2 teams, with the little glimpse we've got at them, Indiana's running one of the deepest teams in probably 3 decades that they've ever had. Just a wealth of talent on the bench in multiple different spots. You look at the rotation, Terry Morin's running right now. It's basically 6 girls. She's got some. Last night had 3 reserves. Each came in with less than less than 3 minutes. I'm sorry, less than 4 minutes piece. You got 4 different phones ringing at the same time here. Sorry about that. Whereas Indiana, the men's team, they can roll out. They just keep coming in waves. So fingers crossed that everybody on the women's side is able to stay healthy. But you've just got to love the fight that both of those squads are showing so far.
And it's nice for Indiana on the women's and the men's side. I know it's early in the season, but things look promising on both ends. My God, what a reprieve it is, considering what the football season has done. There's finally, after this, some optimism about the football season. Things go off the rails, but now there's definitely reason to be excited about both basketball programs in Bloomington.
Yeah, no doubt. And, it's unfortunate because as football was ascendant, basketball was really struggling.
Yeah.
And, as we've seen historically on 17th Street, a rising tide's going to lift all boats. And when basketball is good, everything's a little bit better over there. I've had a lot of conversations with you guys. Zach and I have talked about it quite a bit. How important football is. It's not the end all be all. With the media rights contract the Big Ten secured, Indiana's going to be well compensated. They're going to be well resourced going forward. But the growth potential is probably greatest in football. But I'll tell you what, when you look at the women's basketball program and look at how they've been able to build a following here locally, regionally, even nationally for that matter, there's still a lot of empty seats in Assembly Hall that I would imagine are going to continue to fill as time goes on, and these women keep stacking dubs because they play a lot of games, and you can fit a lot of Hoosiers in that gym, selling a lot of tickets, a lot of concessions, a lot of merch. So I think you're going to see the program reaping the fruits of this success, and hopefully maybe there's some added motivation to get football back up and truly start to max out what the program's capable of.
I noticed in the let's see, this is the NCAA March Madness new power rankings. I think this is from Andy Katz, so this is not a surprise, but he's got Indiana at number 6. He always has Indiana ranked a lot higher, but Indiana is starting to creep up in a lot of people's polls into the consciousness. Then that is the big thing, is that while you still have some national pundits talking about the Indiana men's team as, I don't know, but you sure got a lot of people starting to put them up there.
Yeah, and this is funny. I always like to check Ken Palm when I get up and I'm having my coffee in the morning. And we're still in that early phase where statistical analysis is really, really tough, simply because of the level of competition. And the discrepancies across the country as far as who's playing who. You got the Champions Classic here this week up in Indy. Some heavyweights squaring up. Once we get through this weekend, you should probably have a little better reliance on where those stats are. Some things that are probably more independent of competition than others. The Hoosiers look like they can shoot the ball this year. And that's something that fans have been screaming for years now. And we'll see how that holds up against a little stiffer competition, against some better athletes. But right now, Indiana's 40% from deep. Come on, 76, almost 77% from the stripe. I think what you can take away from the exhibition games, or not the exhibition, but the exhibition and the early games we've had against Morehead State and Bethune-Cookman.
Basically exhibition games.
Yeah, effectively cupcakes and exhibitions. The confidence this team's playing with, and it's obvious. You can see it in the stroke. You can see it in the ball movement. Woody talked a lot in his last post game about the competitiveness of this group and how much the second string and the freshmen are bringing fight to Cook Hall, and how that's impacting. You can see it impacting everybody on the floor. I said it after the last game. There's a synergy this team's playing with that we probably haven't seen since the 12-13 team. Ball movement is a great indicator of how well guys trust each other, knowing that it's okay to pass up a good shot if your teammate's got a better shot. That takes trust, that takes confidence, and this team seems to be oozing with it. So we'll see how that translates Friday night on the road in Cincinnati, but it feels good to feel this good about the Hoosiers again.
That's something that I talked about, and I know we've only got 2 games, right, and they're cupcake games, so there's not a lot to talk about. But to me, the thing that stood out was on last week in the Bethune-Cookman game, 35 made baskets, 27 assists. I mean, that's guys, like you said, trusting each other, working together, having a lot of confidence in one another. And then the other thing that stood out to me was the unselfishness. I think in that last game, Jalen Hood-Schifino and Xavier Johnson-Goa combined 3 of 11 from the floor, I think it was, but they grabbed, I think it was 14 assists and 9 rebounds collectively. I mean, just finding ways to impact the game, and especially on the Xavier Johnson front, there was some concern that coming into this season, if he's not finding his shot, he might try to force things. And people kind of saw that a little bit in the exhibition games, but when it came down to when these games mattered, both those guys are willing to be unselfish and help their team in other ways. And I think even though those are 2 games you should win by 30 points like Indiana did, that's a very positive sign heading into a more difficult portion of the schedule.
Well, you think of years past, if the backcourt put up that kind of performance, just from a shooting standpoint, you would expect Indiana to be uncomfortably tight throughout the entirety of the game. For a team that to be able to withstand that, to absorb, a drop off in shooting from its 2 starting guards like that, they still made winning plays throughout the game. They still were able to find ways to impact the game. I don't know that you saw that last year, or that was even possible with the rotation they ran. If the guards weren't hitting shots, usually it was okay. Can Trace put up 40? How heavily or how heavy of a load is he going to have to carry to get Indiana over the finish line? And now they don't even miss a beat. So that's been a welcome change. I think we're seeing with Xavier Johnson in particular, and I'm willing to give Fino a little bit of time to kind of settle in, and I think this is going to be a process for him. But with Xavier, I've had a lot of friends chirping about, what his impact, what his contributions on this team are going to be, and whether or not he needs to be getting the minutes he's pulling right now. And I, as I've reminded them, and I'll continue to say, growth isn't always linear. And as we saw last year, it took Xavier Johnson the better part of the season, probably 2/3 of the season, to really get himself into the rhythm that he had to play in, where the intensity was balanced with the focus and the discipline that Woodson requires of his guards. And, I think the rhythm this year is still a little bit elusive for him, primarily because he has to give up a lot of the roles he was forced to assume last year. And I think he's going to lead this team primarily from the defensive end to start. But as we saw last year, he's going to figure out where his shots need to be when they need to come. And, true leadership's going to be him recognizing that when it's not there and getting it to the other guys, because now he's got scoring options across the floor. And, they're creating some great spacing in the process. And I think you're going to see everybody benefit from it. Look no further than Miller Kopp and how much more effective he's been this year, because the shots are coming where they need to in the offense rather than out of desperation.
Yes, and looking forward to this team as they move forward and take on an Xavier team on Friday. Then they come back, play Miami on Sunday. They're getting a lot of time off before, which they need, as the schedule just really kicks into gear on the 30th. From November 30th forward, you've got 3 major games in 4 weeks, or 3 weeks, whatever the case is. But you've got North Carolina, you've got Arizona, you've got Kansas, and this is Xavier team, which that'll be out of the way by then. But those 3 they're not only big teams, these are major events where everybody's going to be watching this game or those games. Everyone's going to be paying attention to see, okay, is this Indiana team real or are they BS?
Right, and keep in mind too, you've got North Carolina is going to be one of the biggest games of the non-conference schedule. You follow that up immediately afterwards with a trip to Piscataway, and for as much as Big Ten fans love to discount Rutgers, man, you can't take any road game in the Big Ten lightly.
Don't sleep. No,
you can't. You cannot.
It's an X. You go there with an X on your back, and they know that's an opportunity for them, hoping that you're thinking about reliving North Carolina and thinking about Arizona coming up.
Yep. And then Kansas immediately on the heels of that one. So this I think that's why I think this weekend is going to be a great opportunity for them to really sharpen the edges and take it on the road. I keep going back to 2011 when IU made that trip to North Carolina State on the road. And to go into a hostile environment for the first time, it reveals a whole lot about what your team's made of and what you're capable of. And that was a turning point, I felt like, for that team. And that spawned the Watt shot and the upset of Kentucky thereafter. So I'm really looking at this game here Friday as an opportunity for this team and its fans to learn a whole lot about who they are and just how legit their chances are going to be this season.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate you as always. I hope you have a great rest of your week and enjoy it.
Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care.
Appreciate you. Chronic Hoosier joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda. Make sure you go to andymorehonda.com or just stop in Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio. DJ joins us right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting.
All right, see you guys later.
See you, Dustin.
Hey, Dustin, check out you can't. Stephen Bardo's Big Ten all-freshman team he put out. Sky Clark, Jett Howard, Bryce Sensabaugh, Braden Smith, and Derrick Simpson.
Not a single Indiana guy, huh?
Not a single Indiana guy.
Wow.
That'll fire up the fan base.
Especially
you got
when you put Sky Clark in there, an Illinois guy.
Well, not only that, who was a former teammate of Jalen Hood-Schifino and Malik Renault, but he's not performing as well. You put Braden Smith on there, the guard at Purdue, who is definitely not doing what Jalen Hood-Schifino can do. Yeah, and you kidding me? Malik Renault? Please get out of here.
All right. Yep. That'll be interesting. That'll be fun to talk about.
Get out of here.
Later, guys.
Oh, man.
See you, TJ.
I'm trying to get
Dustin. Hey, good to see you, man.
You too.
I'm trying to get Steven on here, man. I got to get him on.
DJ, how was Hurricane Part 2?
I tell you, man, it took the power out again. We were out of power for about 4 hours. So, man, it's been rough. But we're finally on the mend. So, obviously, hopefully it won't be any more hurricanes. You never know with Florida. But the season ends November 30th. So, December 1st, we should be in the clear.
How you been otherwise, man?
Hey, man, listen, you know what? I would be remiss if I didn't say, man, Indiana football has really put a damper on me on top of the Hurricanes. But other than that, physically, I've been okay. But I tell you what, man, I don't know. We'll talk about it, but hey.
Hey, their last two games are their trophy games, the spittoon and the bucket.
That's true. And
when they faced Michigan State back in the day, was the old brass spittoon a thing?
Yes.
Or did that happen after that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They did. I don't know about. I don't know, man. I don't know if this team that I see now, I don't know if they have the desire to win. But again, like
they've lost it, man.
We'll get that in. Here we go.
Yeah.
More. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Tuesday. It's November 15th. Hope you're having a great start to your week. DJ Derrick Jackson joins us now. How are you doing, man? He's out in Florida. He's been dodging hurricanes.
As soon as we get out of the way of one, look like another one come. But we weathered the storm, had some minor damage on the first round. Second round, we really just had lost electricity for about 4 hours. But the entire city is a big junk pile right now of debris. So especially out on Fort Myers Beach. Matter of fact, Fort Myers Beach doesn't even exist anymore. Not at this point. They got to start to rebuild it, and it's going to take years upon years to rebuild Fort Myers Beach, man.
That's amazing. I was down there not that long ago, and then I know that you've got Sanibel Island, which has the road and the bridge on it, and it was gone.
Right.
What's the deal on that? I haven't even looked back at that right now. Are they building like a temporary thing? Because I know, like back in World War II, they could throw some kind of pontoon bridge out there and make it. And that's I'm like, they're going to have to do a World War II action here.
Well, they were making use of the ferry for people on the island that had to get off the island, for people that were off the island that had to get on the island. But I think they pretty much put some things in place. The engineers, they're going to have to rebuild it, but I think they made it safe enough for minor travel up until that point. But again, I mean, you got sharks, believe it or not, swimming in the street.
I saw this video yesterday, man. Someone, if you didn't see that, it was hilarious. Someone posted a damn couple. They're sitting, waiting. It's like they're at a cross, an intersection, and the water's going down one of the roadways. And the guy's like, "What? Wait, what is that?" Yeah, just a couple of sharks swimming down. You can see the fins, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, get the F out of here with that."
It's their world. I mean, when it comes to animal like sharks, you don't expect to see a shark in the street, but a gator, you expect to see that. I mean, there's a gator that comes up in my yard right here in front of the patio almost every day. One in the back. I mean, it's just commonplace that you're gonna have gators around here. But to see sharks swimming in the street, man, that was unbelievable.
Man, and see, the thing is, I wish I would have been there because I would have recorded this saying, now, I understand why you're wondering why you're seeing something like this on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, although the Hoosiers are known for their swimming and they have produced a shark. That is not why I'm here. Mark Cuban, the shark.
Yep.
Swimming team. Oh man, I was ready.
Yeah,
I was ready. It
was a tough time, but everyone banded together. A lot of organizations came out and started helping people out. FEMA jumped in. I had a couple of things going on with FEMA I had to attend to. So other than that, man, I mean, we're here, man, and just trying to keep pressing forward.
Yeah, they've got. I'm reading. They have the Sanibel deal reopened.
Mm-hmm.
At least so you can travel it. So
right.
That's good. Yeah, it's amazing. Terrible,
yep.
But it kind of reminds me of Indiana football right now, Derrick. I hate to say, but it's like a hurricane has hit the Indiana football program and just kind of wiped out all that was good. Because there hasn't been much of anything good. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I've tried to, I haven't been negative. I've laid off of it because there's no point in it. It is what it is.
Yep.
And it's not going to change anytime soon. My fear is there's not going to be a change in coaches. I mean, I would be shocked if there was a change in coaches right now for the upcoming season. My fear is what is going to happen to Indiana via the transfer portal with teams going out. They have the least amount of signees coming in. I think they have maybe 8 commitments at the moment, which is an unbelievably low number.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why that number would rise after this season.
Mm-hmm.
And so then if that is the case, then you go through another season that's probably going to be worse than this. How far down are you now? And even with the portal, I think is the only thing that we saw what Mel Tucker did, but look what happened in the second year. It's like he brought all those portal guys in like JUCOs, and then man, now they fell off. They suck again. They're terrible. So you cannot live by the portal. It's very fearful for where this Hoosier football program is right now.
Well, I can tell you this right here, man. If you notice this, here's what you need to take note of. No, he's not with us anymore, but Michael Penix Jr. Okay, he transferred. He's now up there with the OC that used to be at Indiana, I think, the board, right? The OC. Yep. Okay. Michael Penix stats are number 2 in the nation. So what is that? I mean, what does that say about the program? I mean, or what does that say about, some other changes that may or may not need to be made? And I'm very happy for Michael Penix. But when you are at a program and you, for 3 years, poor guy, did what he could do, got hurt, all of a sudden he gets up here, the guy's not hurt. I watched him the other night. He looked phenomenal, man. Michael Penix looked phenomenal. He really did.
He's looking great. He's my God, he's setting records, baby. He's setting records.
He's setting records. So I think what we need to do at Indiana, I think we need to start with the recruiting. Okay, we need to get some players in here. We need some speed, man. I mean, I just have to say it. In my opinion, I love Coach Allen to death, man. I think he's done great with the program. And it just seems like to me right now, I mean, even the quarterback situation is uncertain. I mean, it looks like there's some uncertainty. And we're in the 10th game of the season.
Hey, DJ, real quick. Will you drop out and come back in? We're having a little audio issue.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I saw Joey mentioned Florida alligators, snakes, and now sharks in the street. No, thank you. I love Indiana. Kind of reminds me of that. It's one of my favorite commercials. The Geico commercial. Dude's upstairs and the little gecko. Geico says, well, welcome to your new home. And he turns on the lights and it's got all those dummies sitting there. And he's like, no, thank you. I'm out. I was talking about that Geico commercial, man. That guy goes upstairs, they flip on the lights, and he's got all those dolls sitting there, and he's like, no, thank you. I'm out. But yeah, it's God, I don't want to. I'm trying not to be negative. I really am. But when you're honest, and I've tried to always be honest here.
You gotta be honest, man. You gotta be.
Indiana does not have the talent right now.
Right.
They do not have the coaching to compete in the Big Ten.
Right.
And that is just a fact that has been borne out. You see what can happen at Illinois, although they're in the Big Ten West. Yes. If they were in the Big Ten East, would they be having that year? No. But I think that they would be bowl eligible. I think Illinois could be bowl eligible if they were in the East. Now they're not going to be fighting for the title like they are over there, but they won games. They've won games they were supposed to win. The thing about this team is they didn't win the games they were supposed to win. They should have went down and beat Nebraska. Yep. No reason to lose that damn game. Right. They just changed coaches, for God's sakes. They should not be losing to Rutgers. We see teams like a Rutgers gets beat soundly by a Maryland, another team Indiana should have beaten, but they're not beating these teams anymore. Indiana had worked its way up to me to be the third best team in the Big Ten East, which is saying something. They supplanted Michigan State. Well, now they've dropped back down. They are at the rock bottom of the Big Ten East for me personally.
Why can't my thing is, and I'll say this, just like my good friend out there, Jackson State. Listen, man, this guy was, and I know his marketability is a lot different than all other coaches. But you know what? Like I was talking to Van Waiters the other day. I mean, I say, Van, listen, man. I said, man, you need to make a phone call and you need to get up there. Let's try to help this program out, man. I mean, sometimes you have to think outside the box, man. It's not all about resumes and friends and buddies and things like this. Listen, man, we want to win, and we want to win now. And if we have to bring some of that talent back to support the program, like when Mallory was head coach, Coach Mallory was head coach, we need to do that, man. We need to do that.
You have a relationship with the GOAT?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Someone just mentioned it, and I bring up prime time. Bring up prime time to Bloomington, baby. Prime time in the big. I have not suggested any coaching changes, and I'm not. But this is different. If you could bring prime time in, holy cow. Now, is he going to come to an Indiana? No, he's not. He's a Florida guy. He's not going to come to an Indiana.
Why not? Why not?
I don't think it. I think for one thing, I think he's loving what he's done, where he's done it.
Oh, absolutely. Right yeah.
Because it's remarkable. It's freaking remarkable. He's brought so much attention, done so many great things. Now, does he want to move on? I don't know. I don't know what he wants to do. If he wants to continue doing what he's doing like that, or if he wants to move up. Now, if you want to do something and show that you're a badass that can change things, Indiana's a perfect place to come to, baby.
I was just about to tell you that. Let me tell you something. Coach Prime operates off people telling him what he cannot do. So when they tell him what he cannot do, listen, man.
Won't you tell him he can't turn Indiana around?
He can't turn that program around, man. You can't make Indiana compete with Michigan or Ohio State, huh? You telling me?
Well, why don't you tell him that? Do you know him?
Hey, man, I've reached out, man, to some of everybody. Listen, man, you know what? Listen, man, let's get this thing turned around. And I'm not going to suggest any coaching changes because I'm gonna tell our listeners and everyone else I'm 100% supportive of head coach Tom Allen. Now, what does he need to do to get this thing turned around? I don't know per se. I can tell you with recruiting and getting better talent into the program, that's one of the phases right there. But it's not just all about that right there. We need to do that to get this thing turned around because we got, like you said, man, we got Michigan State and we got Purdue.
John, I don't know if I've given you enough time, but if you could find my question to Tom yesterday, I think I sent you the
the transcript, I asked Tom about, you know, I know he can't pull it up this quickly, but while I'm talking, but if you can,
Well, if you know the answer that he gave you, maybe just tell him the answer, because I don't think by the time I get it, we'll be having to wrap up.
I don't remember it specifically, but I asked him about judging talent, basically about identifying talent, and do they think that they have misidentified the talent? Because you look where we are now at the quarterback position. They've got Dexter Williams finally playing. Okay, well, he was four down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
Why was he 4 down? Now I look back and I'm like, well, Connor Bazelak got replaced because he was one thing all year long: average. He was a 50% completion rate all season. Now, was part of that to blame on the offensive line? Probably, yes. I'll give you that. I'm not blaming Connor Bazelak for everything, but he's not mobile. So would it have been better to have had Dexter Williams in there, even though he was young? Now, do they win the Illinois game? Probably not, but you start working him in sooner. You've got to do things to raise the level of your football team. And not only have they not done that, this team has regressed and gone down. The defense is worse. They're not. Last year they were hurt. This year they're not nearly as hurt by injuries, and they have just not gotten the job done, period. Right. And Tom Allen has taken that over, and that doesn't look good for Tom.
Yeah. That's the part that I hate about it. I mean, the head coach is taking over the defense, and I can't tell you, man. I'm looking at the game, and like, you know, Indiana gets you right where you want to be, and then they let you down. And just like this person, Antoine Randall, these are people right here. These are people that we need to go and get. Go back, reach back. Hey, Antoine, hey, man, we need you, man. We need you here to get this program. Give us a boost, give us a spark. We can put you here a couple years. Give us 2 years, man, and we can put you here. And this is what we want you to do. Now tell Antoine, listen, a lot of those guys that went to Jackson State, man, all they did was check out the highlights. Man, you check out those highlights for Antoine Randall L. Tell me he won't be a great recruiter for Indiana.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, can you imagine having Dion? And again, I am not at all suggesting a change in head coaches. I'm just thinking it kind of a Christmas time, a dream scenario for any place at any time. Can you imagine having Dion Sanders as the head coach, having Antoine Randall L on staff?
Ernie Jones, Van Waiters, man, you got guys like that. Man, let me tell you something.
That are all in coaching.
They're all in coaching, man. Every last one of them. That's what I'm thinking. Reach out to these guys, man. Tell me. And I know Indiana is not the one who likes to pay a lot of money. I get that. But I'm gonna tell you something.
Come 2024, like you have they don't have a choice. Right. They have to be. Indiana is trying to hedge their bets, and I've said this, and 2024 is when everything changes. That's when the TV contract kicks in, the new TV contract kicks in. Mm-hmm. The money that Indiana will receive will double to $100 million from the $51 million they get. That will give them more money to do things like that, to go out and get the kind of coaches that they have to have and keep. But man, go talk to your man. Go talk to your man. Next time you're on, I want to hear what Dion has to say.
I would do that. I reached out, and I have reached out to Antoine too.
Now I'd like to get Antoine on the show.
I think you muted yourself, DJ.
Yeah, he got so excited he muted himself, DJ. But I would love. Can you hear me? Yeah, he can't.
Something. Hey, we're getting short on time here, DJ. But we'll let you go and we'll talk to you next time.
But I'd love to get Antoine Randall L on the show. I've been trying to do that for some time. So, but we appreciate DJ joining us. We'll have him on again. But yeah, getting Antoine on would be incredible. I would love to do that. he is just one of the all-time greats. But can you imagine a staff like that? Wouldn't that be nuts? Wow. And there's plenty, and there's other guys. You talk about the connection for Indiana basketball. You could seriously do now. Primetime is not that, but we're about out of time, I believe, but I'll throw him back in there. DJ, if you're still there, we're about out of time, but I think you muted yourself is what you did. But he can't hear anyway. But that would be wild. DJ, Primetime, Antoine Randall, Van Waiters, guys like that that are in coaching, that were badasses at Indiana, that would love to be here. There are others. I can't think. But anyway, great show today. Appreciate everybody. Dustin Schutte, as always, with us as co-host. Collin Hartman, special guest. Make sure you go to either Hoosiers for Good or HoosiersConnect.com and start helping them bring in that money, man. They've got a $1 million offer that they have to match. So lots of different ways you can do that. We'll be talking more about that. We'll get Tyler Harris on from Hoosiers for Good. We're back tomorrow to do this again. Great lineup tomorrow, as always, with Bob Kravitz, Cal Nedrip, as the Indiana high school football tournament season is getting closer to wrapping up, and the great Rick Bozich, in addition to plenty more. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports